I'm sorry to keep making content on the Starmer coming out as surprisingly anti-mass migration after all these years, but he's gone even further today and say he's mooting the potential of some hubs to send back illegal immigrants to.
Yes, we are in talks with a number of countries about return hubs, and I see them as a really important innovation.
Now, we all know the Starmer is a modernist cyborg. He has no feelings, he has no favourite book, he doesn't dream. He'll happily wrestle a mother from her children and leave her to languish in jail for years on end for sending an edgy tweet. He feels no negative emotion about that at all. He just plugs back into the mainframe and awaits recoding, upgrades and commands from HQ. However, when the cold eye of Starmer isn't fixated on you, it is quite fun watching him rip apart those holy liberal shibboleths that have made such a mess of the Western world with an uncaring and brutal pragmatism. Now, I've said many times amongst all the drama and noise of late that this is, of course, a play to try and win back voters from reform. Starmer, as well as many other globalist figures in Western nations, have realised that they're losing the Western public. It seems to me an order has come down from the top dictating that the Western people must be placated. No, this doesn't mean get what we want, it means contained so the globalist liberal project can go on unabated behind the scenes. I've been saying for a while that when Starmer comes to the end of his premiership, he'll be able to say, I took immigration down. But that's only possible because the figures were so insanely high under the Tories. They'll still be running around 300, 400,000 under Starmer. And when we look at this in a meta context, it means that the liberal establishment will be able to say, look, we're on your side, we took immigration down, we don't want this madness either. Well, behind the scenes, they keep immigration running, and the publics in the West have been so abused by mass migration, it will seem like things are getting better. But in reality, nothing will have changed. The reality is that European people will still be being made minorities in their own homelands. Remember, it's only going to take 20, maybe even 10 years to get to a point where Western nations are at a critical mass. That means that they can't democratically state that they want to vote in their own political interest. And if they don't have a majority, they have no tradition to fall back upon and they're brainwashed by liberalism, they just become one group among thousands of others jostling for interest and competing for power. And all of this will be overseen by the oh-so-wise utopian globalist liberal system, where nothing ever goes wrong, it's all equality and diversity here, and if you think it's not, you're a bad person who needs to be reprogrammed. And at that point, the powers that be have total control. But I have a useful little exercise at these times when our leaders decide we're not all evil and far-right and unwelcome in our own countries, but they're on our side, and that's this. Question 1. In the long run, are the actions a given leader is proposing or promoting make any difference to European people becoming a minority in Europe or not? Question 2. Are these given policies promoting the maintenance and respect for a distinct European identity, one that should be maintained and promoted long into the future? If the answer is no to both of these, which it is in the case of Keir Starmer, then you know all of this is just a ruse to contain the masses. It's important to remember at times like these that Keir Starmer would still think you're a horrible reprobate for wishing for the Europeans to remain a majority in Europe. Of course, these same people wouldn't mind at all if the Chinese wished to be a majority in China, or the Africans in Africa, and so on. Now, I think we all know at this point, if liberals actually do genuinely believe this, it's because they buy into the liberal mythology of history, the sort of white male as the historic oppressor of every group, and ergo, every group is by its very nature good, while as the Europeans must embrace ethnic and cultural diversity as a sort of absolving of their original sin. That's why if you oppose the globalist liberal agenda, you will be seen as sinful, as evil, and there are a few loudmouths who don't really help the cause there. However, when you look at it in pure brute fact, you see there's nothing immoral about it at all. It's just the same as any group would want anywhere in the world. It doesn't mean you hate anybody. That's why I don't promote any hatred or dislike to people who have already come here. Sure, we've got our problems here, and I'm sure there's a few good eggs amongst them, but the reality is they're largely being used as a bioweapon by a very corrupt system. Anyway, I think I've made my point. I better shut up before the Starmer changes his mind again and throws us all in jail for wrongthink. Do let me know your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel if you're new.